Tips. Change the trajectory set every day to get 30,000 Honkai points. Just when Naruto was about to go out to have a look, he heard the good news from Tianshin. The disciples of the Guy class really did not disappoint me. Perseverance every day is really good. 3 years of uninterrupted training may seem easy, but in fact it is not easy. Naruto grinned lightly with a gleam in his eyes. Immediately, Naruto stretched lazily and left Hokage Rock. Naruto. 5th generation called us for an emergency meeting, hurry up and follow me. As soon as Naruto came to the street, he bumped into little Sakura head-on and was pulled by his hand and walked away. Little Sakura, you're already this big. Naruto looked at Sakura, who had turned into a female student, in surprise, swallowed secretly and said. 3 years later, the little Sakura, the biggest difference from the original Shippuden, is that she has all the true stories of Tsunade. Whether it is strength, or that yearning place. Well, the dressing style is also a lot more presumptuous. What nonsense are you talking about? Can't we talk about this kind of thing at night? Little Sakura's face turned red slightly, the corners of her mouth raised secretly, she gave a coquettish reproach, and pulled Naruto away. Okay. Let's talk about it tonight. Naruto took a deep look at the deep white, followed behind the little Sakura, looking at the back of a long pink hair and said. Naruto is also puzzled by the current situation, and doesn't understand what Zuo called them for. Soon, Naruto followed little Sakura to the Hokage office. When Naruto saw Seiko sitting on the main seat, his eyes almost popped out. Is this guy so developed? To be as great as the young Tsunade? And the 10 little strong ones who grew up also came in one after another. Among them, the growth of Big Hinata and Big Ino made Naruto envious. Well, every day is not bad, it belongs to the normal level. According to known intelligence, Cloud Shinobi, Rock Shinobi, and Mist Shinobi may start a war at any time. Just in case, the village decided to make an exception and promote a group of Jonin. In order to cope with the subsequent changes in the situation. Recommended by Jonin. Uzumaki Naruto, Nara Shikamaru, Rock Lee, Hyuga Neji, Aburame Shino, Haruno Sakura, Hyuga Hinata, Yamanaka Ino, Tenten, Akamichi Choji, Inuzuka Kiba. The above 11 Chunin will be promoted to Jonin immediately. Congratulations. Kakashi stood beside Seiko, solemnly looked at Naruto and other 11 Shaokyangs, and shouted in a solemn voice. During these 3 years Haruno Sakura, Hyuga Hinata, Yamanaka Ino, Tenten, Akamichi Choji, Inuzuka Iba, have been promoted from Genin to Chunin. Now the strength of the top 10 Shaokyangs is a veritable elite Jonin. If you add their own cheats, 2 Ying is not impossible. What's the situation? The 4th battle is about to start in the 5 great ninja villages. When Naruto heard Sako's order, he couldn't react for a while, and thought with a slow mind. Has it gotten this serious? What's the situation in the major ninja villages now? A bright light flashed in Shikamaru's eyes, and he took the initiative to ask. Cloud Shinobi, Rock Shinobi, Mist Shinobi, the 3 major ninja villages. Because of the loss of the tailed beast, conflicts were frequently provoked on the border. According to the analysis of the staff department, war may break out at any time. But you don't have to worry, we are sure to win this war. Raising your level is also to make it easier for you to perform tasks later. After all, your strength is beyond the existence of ordinary Jonin. Seiko looked at everyone with sharp eyes, and said confidently with full aura. Seiko, who has experienced 3 years of Hokage career, has formed an aura of calmness and prestige. As far as Konoha's current background is concerned, Seiko can't think of a reason to lose. Because of their respective strengths, the 10 young masters all showed confidence and acquiesced to Zuo Z's statement. Naruto stays, the others can go back. Seeing that no one asked any more questions, Seiko turned his eyes to Naruto and said calmly. Yes, Master Hokage. In public, Tien Shaoqiang still bowed his head very politely. Naruto saw that Shi Shaoqiang was about to leave, his eyes flashed strangely, and the ability copy glove quickly appeared in his hand. Such a full circle scene, if he didn't copy it, he was blind to this opportunity. First, Naruto ruled out Kiba, Shino, Sakura, Hinata, and Neji. There is no need to copy the abilities of these few people. Hinata and Neji, now is not a chance. Naruto pointedly extended his palms to Shikamaru, Choji, Ino, Tianshin, and Xiao Li. Ino Shika chose mystic art, but a good one. Among them, Naruto is most optimistic about Akamichi's expansion jutsu, which is simply the entry-level version of jutsu. The second is Yamanaka's mind control technique and Nara's shadow secret. Very smoothly, Naruto got the Ino Shika Cho secret technique that the three of them had practiced successfully. Then came the two main events. Name, Tianshin. Abilities. Mind power, perspective power, teleportation. Double Rising Dragon. King Rising Dragon, Shuriken Clone Technique, Ninja Tool Kujutsu, Explosive Dragon Shock, Manipulation Tool Explosive Jade. Name. Rock Lee Abilities. Saiyan Blood without side effects, Inferior Warrior Potential. 8 Inner Gates Formation, Drunken Master. Leaf Hurricane, Dynamic Prelude, Renwa, Surface Renwa, Lee Renwa, Junja Renwa. The moment Naruto saw the abilities of the two, he immediately copied the power of mind, perspective, teleportation, and Saiyan Blood without side effects. Don't look at the Saiyan bloodline, which is just an inferior fighter with potential. This is also an existence that can explode stars. Just the incidental pervert resilience alone allowed Xiao Li to cultivate 8 Inner Gates formation in 3 years. Imagine the potential. The moment his body was filled with Saiyan blood, Naruto felt the cells in his body begin to change rapidly. The chakra on his body is also brought to grow rapidly. What surprised Naruto the most was that the power of Ashura and Indra in him was stimulated and awakened. Seiko, I still have something to do, I'll see you later. Feeling the almost uncontrollable strength of his body, Naruto yelled at Seiko, and his figure disappeared instantly. Sanagakure Kazekage Temari, who was frowning and thinking about the problem, suddenly appeared beside him. Naruto. Why are you here suddenly? Temari's pretty face lit up, she put down the things in her hands, and cried out in a delighted voice. Temari, long time no see, you have grown up again. I will teach you how to make balls tonight. Naruto subconsciously looked at Temari's beautiful figure, and joked with a smirk on his face. Temari blushed when she heard Naruto's meaningful teasing. Cough cough. Kankuro, who is the guard of the Kazekage, heard Naruto's obvious ridicule, and couldn't help coughing dryly to show his sense of existence. What? I still have something to do, I can't hold it anymore. Naruto smiled awkwardly, feeling the power that was about to explode in his body, and hurriedly ran outside. You're the only one who talks too much. Temari scolded angrily, followed Naruto and ran outside. Is it out of control? It can only be vented. Unexpectedly, Ashura exists with the same power as Indra, and this will happen. The combination of opposite forces will trigger everything. Then, wood-style birth of the tree realm. Naruto felt the chakra in his body like water and fire, his face became serious, he folded his hands together, burst out all the chakra, and shouted in a low voice. In the next moment, in Sanagakure, a desert full of yellow sand, countless small saplings rose from the ground and grew rapidly. The entire sand shinobi was instantly covered by countless green plants and expanded rapidly. This situation made the citizens of Temari and Sanagakure who came out stunned and ecstatic. This is wood style from first Hokage. Konoha's ninja, can you do this now, forest? I'm not dazzled, but there are forests in Sand Shinobi. Great, we also have greenery in Sand Shinobi. Our children no longer have to face the endless desert when they are born. Woo woo woo. Unexpectedly, in this life, I can still see trees in Sand Shinobi. It's a shame to die. The ninjas and civilians of Sand Shinobi expressed their surprises and excitement. Naruto, you still know wood style? As expected of me, Temari's man. Temari looked at Naruto with joy in his eyes and smiled in delightful surprise. Kankuro following behind Temari watching Naruto bewildered. Naruto. Gaara, who heard the news, stared at Naruto's figure, murmured, and didn't dare to go forward. He is afraid that Temari will let him call Naruto brother-in-law again, it's embarrassing. That guy, what the hell are you going to do? Baki looked at Naruto who was exploding with melancholy, and said in a deep voice with fear. If this is Wood Style's attack ability against the 19th party, then Sand Shinobi won't give the opponent a pot. Thinking of that horrible scene, Baki is sweating on his forehead and dripping with cold sweat. However, seeing his own Kazecage's nympho appearance, Baki's heart instantly chilled. Seeing the indifferent Gaara and Kankuro, Baki's little heart twitches even more. Are these three guys really Sand Shinobi's Kazekage and Guardians? How come you have no sense of crisis? But at this time, the birth of the tree world that broke out in Naruto has already broken through Sanagakure and spread to all directions outside the village. Compared with the sparseness in the village, the trees outside the village grow densely into a dense forest. In just 1 or 2 minutes, a giant oasis with a radius of 10 miles around Sanagakure appeared in the Nara desert. Looking down from above, a large circular forest covers Sanagakure. Well, almost. Add some life to the woods. Naruto felt the nearly exhausted chakra in his body, and with a thought, he entered Kurama mode instantly. The Kurama mode of Yang Nine Tails contains a lot of Yang power that revitalizes wood style. With another eruption of Naruto, the trees he summoned were more lush and bright. And the rhizomes under the trees extend down tens of meters crazily, absorbing the nutrients in the ground to ensure their own growth. This change is enough to keep these trees alive. Tamari, I'll come and play with you when I'm free. After finishing these, Naruto laughed and teased, and his figure disappeared in front of several people in an instant. Damn bastard. Go back to the meeting. Seeing the meaningful eyes around him, Tamari spat in dissatisfaction, left a word, and turned to approach. With such a big change in Sand Shinobi, there is always a meeting to deal with it. And Naruto, using the Flying Thunder God technique, returned to Konoha's home. Sensing the condition of his body, Naruto no longer hesitated, and greeted Doraemon to spend 5,000 Honkai points, and took out the Super Blender. His own abnormality will only disappear if he fuses with his own body. Ashura and Indra's chakra will also naturally become his nourishment. Naruto took out one of Obito's hollow eyes, threw it into another material port, and started to operate. Super Blender needs at least 2 things to start. I don't know if it was because the things Naruto wanted to fuse were too strong this time, and it took nearly 3 minutes before it was spit out by the Super Blender again. Is this the constitution close to Otsutsuki? What a powerful force. Feeling the strength of his body, Naruto clenched his fists and muttered with radiance in his eyes. The Saiyan bloodline is indeed a very strong bloodline force in terms of combat power. Kosaiyans will also be born, old, sick and die. Even if it is the super bloodline, it is about the same. The power of Otsutsuki is different. Not only can it live longer and cross the void physically, but it can also heal itself quickly, which is better than the inferior bloodline in terms of potential. And Naruto integrates the blood of the two, naturally it is the strength of the two. At this time, he surpassed Otsutsuki in terms of physical strength, and in other respects he was also completely outmatched by Saiyans. It is a fusion of physical strength from Ashura and spiritual strength from Indra. It can also be said to be the yin and yang force of Sage of Six Paths. Fortunately, Naruto was fused with Saiyan blood, so he maintained his current appearance and did not turn into a strange appearance like Otsutsuki. Tisk tisk tisk. I don't know, what is my current combat power? Have you reached the level of Little Wukong? Naruto quickly adapted to his current body, and couldn't help laughing wickedly. Well, it's time to find Seiko. After you're done, go to Hong Yuhi and try your mind power and clairvoyant eyes. This can unlock a lot of fun things. Naruto thought to himself again, and the figure quickly disappeared. It's all spread like crazy, it's time to harvest Shi Yuhong, this delicate rose. Hokage office, Seiko. What did you want to say just now? As soon as Naruto appeared here, he asked straight to the point. Naruto, Sasuke said that history has changed. When Urwei and Three Tails disappeared, Jiraiya went out to investigate the information. According to his information, Uchiha Madara has been revived by Orochimaru. Also, I couldn't summon the 10 Tails Golem at all. I suspect Uchiha Madara is behind the scenes. Of course, it is also possible that the shell tissue that Sasuke said is playing tricks. Naruto, I asked you to stay because I wanted to hear your opinion. Or, we go straight to the future to find intel. When Seiko heard Naruto's question, he was not polite, and spit out a series of words. Jiraiya went out to investigate information? This guy really has to die on the road of seeking information. As far as his strength is concerned, whether it's Uchiha Madara or the hidden shell tissue, it's all about delivering food. Hearing this, Naruto thought speechlessly with black lines all over his head. He also didn't think about it. He snatched away Tsunade, Jiraiya's restless guy. Without any ties, how could he stay in Konoha for a long time? Go to the future to search for information. Thank you for thinking of it. As long as you have an idea, it has to be you. Don't worry about this, we'll go again in 2 days. I have something to do now. Although Naruto was very interested in the future, he temporarily rejected Sako's request. He accelerated the time to reach Blast, but he has not enjoyed the result yet. Naruto, I remember going back and forth through time, in this time and space is just a moment. Don't you have this little time? What, I beg you to take me through, is it difficult? Seiko stared at Naruto's eyes sharply, and said arrogantly with a pretty face. Well, I'm afraid of you. Naruto got goosebumps from Sako's eyes, and shivered. Really, Seiko is so attractive now. Those watery eyes, the reddish pretty face and Sakura's pink lips, Naruto looked flustered. I also want to know whether the time and space traveled by the time machine belong to the future of this world. Think of it as decrypted. Kurenai Yuhi, Tsunade Dai, Sakurako Dai, Ino Dai, Hinata Dai, Tamari Dai, it's been a while. Naruto groaned in his heart, reached out and took out the time machine. Seeing something familiar, Seiko walked up to Naruto with ease, half kneeling beside Naruto. And many more, isn't this too dangerous? In case of misfortune in the future, you will be in danger. 5th generation, let me go. Kakashi seemed to be mature and prudent to stop, but his eyes were shining with interest in traveling through time and space. Danger? Non-existent. If we really can't come back, Mr. Kakashi. You are 6th Hokage. Seiko ruthlessly interrupted Kakashi's delusions. She has been holding back for the past 3 years. Just going out for a walk. So, which era are we going to? Naruto looked at Kakashi with a black face who was stunned with a smile, then turned to Seiko and asked. Whatever, as long as it's in the future a few years from now. At that time, you should know the current situation. Seiko glanced at Naruto and said indifferently. But the excitement in his eyes still couldn't hold back. Then let's see the world 10 years from now. Mr. Kakashi, we will be back soon. Naruto quickly adjusted the time, greeted Kakashi, and instantly pressed the start button of the time machine. Kakashi saw a dark hole suddenly appear above the heads of Naruto and Seiko, and the two rushed into the black hole in the time machine. This time travel is different from Sasuke's last time. Kakashi narrowed his eyes and stared at the peaceful space where the two left, and couldn't help but wonder. This is Kakashi, seeing a time machine for the first time. Konoha's 73 years Hokage office 6th Hokage Nara Shikamaru, who was looking at the file, suddenly stared. Nine Tails chakra erupted, and the shadows under him rushed in all directions, instantly surrounding the suddenly broken void. In the next moment, two figures fell with one step of the machine and appeared in front of Nara Shikamaru. It turned out to be you. It's been a long time, Naruto, Seiko. After seeing the two figures clearly, Nara Shikamaru quickly relaxed her tense expression, looked at the two and said calmly. Shikamaru? How did you become Hokage? Naruto and Sako's eyes widened at the same time, looking at Nara Shikamaru in a Hokage robe, they exclaimed. This result was unexpected by both of them. Especially Zuozi was even more confused, she was just joking just now. Has this been usurped? Well, I'm Konoha's 6th Hokage now. I didn't expect you to travel to this time period. Naruto, here is the information you want. Nara Shikamaru looked at the stunned two, with nostalgia and jokes flashing in his eyes. He reached out and took out a slightly old scroll from the drawer and handed it to Naruto. Hey, it's so much easier this way. Seiko, looking at Shikamaru's current state, you can tell that we are fine. Now let's go back. Naruto was stunned for a moment, then took the scroll, turned his head and urged Seiko. Since it is the real future and not some parallel world, Naruto has no interest in going out to see it at all. He is a time traveler himself, and with the blessing of Doraemon, knowing the real future will make him lose the feeling of creating the future. Even if he really regretted something, he would use the time machine to keep the regret. Knowing the answer in advance is not a good choice. Go back now Shikamaru, how did you become a 6th generation item? Could it be that I have already? When Seiko heard that Naruto wanted to go back, he immediately rejected Naruto, turned his head and stared at Nara Shikamaru tremblingly. As we all know, the positions of shadows in each village will basically not be changed except for sacrifices. There are very few people who seem to abdicate normally to let the virtuous. What's more, the opponent is their contemporary ninja Nara Shikamaru. I was appointed by you to be the 6th generation, you are fine. Really, leave such a troublesome thing to me. Nara Shikamaru saw Sako's confused look, he waved his hand to interrupt Sako's random thoughts, and said in a lazy tone. Is that so? Where did I go? Sako's face instantly turned from worry to joy, and he stepped forward to ask excitedly. This, I still do not say good, you will know later. Nara Shikamaru was taken aback for a moment, subconsciously glanced at Naruto, and said vaguely. With this look, Naruto was puzzled for a while. Forget it, I'll go out and have a look. Zuozi said arrogantly, turned around and walked outside. After confirming that he was fine, Seiko returned to his previous mentality. She herself used this incident to come out to relax. If she doesn't go out now, when will she stay? Aren't you stopping her? Shikamaru looked at Naruto in surprise, and asked unexpectedly with a strange twist on the corner of his mouth. Why stop her? If she wants to go out, go out. Let's talk about you anyway. Shikamaru, are you married? I'm very interested in this. Naruto asked indifferently, looked at Shikamaru 8 trigrams narrowly and said. He has cut off Tamari, and he doesn't know who Shikamaru is marrying. Shikamaru looked at Naruto from 8 trigrams, the corners of his eyes twitched slightly. This guy, don't you know what he did? Outside. After Seiko quickly ran out of Hokage's office, he went straight to his house. Different from Naruto's self-confidence, Seiko is looking forward to her future. In order to prevent riots, Seiko also specially used the transformation technique to change his appearance. After all, she is the past Lord 5th Hokage. He. Sister, come and catch me. Zorana, here I come. Seiko walked quickly through the Uchiha clanland and came to his door. But just as she was about to go in, she heard the sound of laughing and fighting in the yard. How can there be children in my family? Zuazi's heart moved, and he lifted his foot to enter the door curiously, and saw 2 little girls, one big and one small, chasing and playing in the yard. Among them, the slightly older girl has brilliant yellow hair. The younger girl has the same short black hair as her. Huh. Sister, I think I saw my mother. Zuozi was about to step forward to ask a question, when he was startled by 3-year-old Zuo Liangna's surprise voice. The raised left foot also froze in place as if struck by lightning. Mom. Sako's mind went blank, and his mind was filled with the joyful cry of the little girl. When he came to the door of the house, Zuozi had already lifted the transformation offer. Oh, it's true that mom is back. But, mother's appearance, why is she so much smaller? I know, it must be dad's magical prop. Mom, Naruto misses you so much. The older girl, following her younger sister's shout, looked up, her eyes lit up. Immediately, the figure flickered and came to Seiko as if teleporting, hugging her and shouting sweetly. And the 3-year-old girl named Zuo Liangna, with 9 tails chakra ignited on her body, quickly moved over and hugged Sako's other side. Zuazi's pupils shrank suddenly, and he looked down at the 2 innocent little fellows. His heart trembled for some reason. You guys. Why do you call me mom? Who was the father you mentioned just now? Zuozi quickly sorted out his thoughts in his mind, lowered his head and looked up at the 2 little girls and asked. Why? Mom is mom. Mom is so stupid that she even forgot to ride. Dad. That's Naruto's dad. Mom, you haven't come back to see us for half a month. Did you bring us a special gift this time? 3-year-old Zorana, holding Sako's thigh and tilting her head, said like a little adult. Mom. Why are you the only one coming back this time? Where's dad? The 5-year-old Naruto looked at Sako's empty back, and asked Jien strangely. But Seiko didn't listen much to what they said. Now she was shocked by Zuo Liangna's words and exploded on the spot. Mom is her and dad is Naruto. So, she and Naruto had a baby. And there are 2 of them. This information made Zuozi stunned for a moment, and he couldn't help himself on the spot for a moment. Seiko, that little guy has the breath of my 2nd-generation split body in his body. Your future, really with Naruto. Just when Zuozi was in a daze, the voice of 9 tails in his body suddenly rang in his ears, and there was a joke in his words. 9 tails, shut up. I don't want this kind of thing. Being teased by 9 tails, Zuozi shouted angrily in his heart, refusing to admit the matter. With the ups and downs of mood, Sako's momentum also changes. Mom. What's wrong with you? Uncle Yujing told me that you were very angry. Did my sister and I make you angry? The 9 tails chakra on Zuo Liangna's body trembled, and looked up at Zuozi with a small face, and said pitifully. No. Mom, I'm not angry. Seeing Zuo Liangna's cute little appearance, Sako's heart softened for some reason, and he blurted out involuntarily. Damn. How can I admit this kind of thing? As soon as the words were spoken, Zuozi came to his senses and shouted angrily in his heart. So how long will mom be staying this time? What about the gift you told us last time? Seeing that Seiko was not angry, Zuo Liangna asked again. Zuozi was a little dumbfounded by this gift again. How can she have any gift on her body? No, you are not our mother now. You are the mother of the past. I've seen through you. Just when Seiko was racking his brains to figure out how to fool him, Naruto, who had a clear understanding of the situation, suddenly yelled loudly. In Naruto's pupils, a pair of blue Rinnegan appeared on it. Mother from the past. Zuo Liangna let go of Seiko, put her little hand into her mouth and looked at her sister Naruto with question marks in her eyes. Zorarna, you are too young to know. Dad has a time-traveling prop that can travel through the past and the future. This mother is the mother of the past. Her strength is not as strong as my mother now. Naruto explained to Zuo Liangna, then turned her head and looked at Seiko. Although you were my mother in the past, you are also my mother. Mom. I am Uzumaki Naruto and I am 5 years old. She is the younger sister Uchiha Sarana, who was abolished this year. Naruto introduced solemnly, patting his chest like a big kid. 6 Go You Rinnegan. Unexpectedly, I was seen through by you. Uzumaki Naruto, Uchiha Sarana. Tell me, where will the future me and Naruto match? Seiko looked into Naruto's eyes, smiled wryly, and questioned the two of them. No. Dad wouldn't let us tell where they were. Even if you are my past mother, it won't work. Zuo Liangna said in a childish voice, and looked at Seiko suspiciously, as if looking at a villain. This small look made Seiko very speechless. Mom, Zorana is right. Dad said that if it is an online world, it is best not to know the future or change the past. This will affect our world now. We misunderstood you just now. From now on I will not tell you all the information about you and Dad. The older Uzumaki Naruto stared at Seiko solemnly. Ha ha. You say that. I want to know more about the future. Although I don't want to admit it, it shouldn't be a problem for a mother to educate her children. Seiko looked at Naruto, who looked like a little adult, and Sarana, who was retreating, and smiled angrily with his hands on his hips. The black pupils of the pupils instantly turned into a purple Rinnegan. Giggling. Mom, don't underestimate us. Zuo Liangna, mother is going to play hide and seek with us. Naruto immediately reacted the moment Seiko Rinnegan was turned on, and giggled. The blue Rinnegan in the pupils flickered, and a black hole appeared behind him instantly. He reached out to grab Zuo Liangna, and the figure fell into it, and disappeared in a blink of an eye. Just as Seiko was about to rush over, the black hole quickly spun and closed. Spatial transfer. Seiko looked at the rapidly dissipating black hole, his pupils shrank suddenly, and he said in astonishment. She really didn't expect that the 5-year-old Naruto could already use this ability. Oh, innocent girl. After being stunned for half a second, a smile appeared on the corner of Zuazi's mouth. He chuckled, turned around and walked towards the house. Some things, these two children are not as clear as their parents. Mom. I'm back. Zuozi quickly ran back home and shouted loudly towards the inside. But after looking at several rooms in succession, Zuozi didn't find anyone. Not at home? Forget it. Gathering information is basic common sense for ninjas. Seiko didn't see his mother Makoto, sighed helplessly, and set off for his room. The moment he opened the door, Seiko was attracted by a family portrait hanging on the wall. Above, the young Naruto and his future self are hugging a child with bright smiles on their faces. Those two children were Naruto and Zuo Liangna that Seiko saw just now. This is the future me. Sako's eyes were fixed on the photo, and he doubted the way of life with a happy face. How could she show such a smile? Especially, that person is still Naruto. How so? I clearly intend to transform back in the future through Orochimaru's living corpse reincarnation. Could it be? Could it be? Zuozi looked down at his palm and said in disbelief. Suddenly, Zuozi trembled violently, thinking of a possibility. In the past 3 years, since she became Hokage, there has been no reward for activating the goddess system. According to the previous information, if you want to activate the reward again, you have to be completely feminine. Psychology, emotion, personality, completely feminine. If this conjecture is followed, the future. Thinking of that possibility, Sako's face instantly became tangled up, his eyes full of weirdness. Oops. I have to go back quickly, and I can't let Naruto know this information. Seiko suddenly remembered Shikamaru's playful eyes before, and didn't care about exploring the future information again, cursed secretly, turned around and left. No matter what the future holds, let Naruto know this now. The anxious Seiko immediately entered Kurama mode, and his figure turned into a golden light, flashing towards Hokage's office. Hokage office, I see. I didn't expect you to marry her. Shikamaru, you are really loose. After hearing about Shikamaru's wife, Naruto looked at Shikamaru and said indifferently. Shikamaru's wife is the glasses girl and Shiho of the code analysis department in the original book. The combination of this girl with the same high IQ and Shikamaru makes Naruto can't help but look forward to whether Shikamaru's son's IQ will increase. It's just marriage, whatever. I originally wanted to find an ordinary woman, have 2 ordinary children, and live an ordinary and worry-free life. It's all your fault for leaving such a troublesome thing to me. Disrupted my retirement life. Shikamaru rolled his eyes and looked back, complaining to Naruto in a tone full of resentment. Blame me. What does it matter to me? It was Seiko who appointed you as the 6th generation, not me. Naruto looked at Shikamaru strangely and distanced himself. Call. She's not. Naruto, let's go back. Shikamaru only spoke half of his words, but was interrupted by Seiko who appeared urgently. Meanwhile, Seiko fixed Shikamaru with a dark gaze, warning him not to talk nonsense. Go back? Is it over so soon? Naruto didn't think too much, asked casually, raised his hand and took out the time machine. He still misses those beautiful Shippuden female characters. Well, Konoha is still the same, there is nothing to visit. Let's go. Seiko made a perfunctory sound absent-mindedly, and urged again. In fact, the changes in Sleepy Leaves are not insignificant. It's just that the current Seiko doesn't care about those things. Alright. Goodbye, Shikamaru. Naruto adjusted the time, said goodbye to Shikamaru, and directly pressed the start switch. Since Seiko didn't want to say more, Naruto didn't ask any more. Call. What a terrible look. I don't know how Naruto could bear Seiko. There are still so many people together. After the 2 left, Shikamaru let out a long sigh, and then sighed. Konoha's 63 years Hokage office. After Kakashi left Naruto and Seiko quickly, only about 2 seconds later, he saw the same black hole appear, and Naruto and Seiko returned here again. Did something happen? Seeing that Sako's expression was slightly wrong, Kakashi couldn't help but thumped in his heart, and asked. No. Naruto, take out your information scroll. Seiko concealed his guilty conscience, turned his head and urged Naruto, trying to divert Kakashi's attention. Well, let me take a look first. Naruto didn't care much about Sako's attitude, he took out the scroll Shikamaru gave him and muttered. Kakashi's eyes met Sako's expectation, looking at the scroll in Naruto's hand. The future also nothing. I will withdraw first. Naruto looked at the handwriting on it speechlessly, looked at Kakashi with black lines all over his head, and said embarrassingly. This style really deserves to be me. Naruto thought inwardly, and the figure disappeared in an instant. Kakashi didn't know why, so he stepped forward, took a look at the scroll, and felt numb in an instant. I saw only 2 simple paragraphs on the scroll. Kakashi looked at the message above and could only turn his head to look at Seiko. Seiko, what's going on in the future of Sleepy Leaf? Kakashi handed the scroll to Seiko who was in a daze, and asked curiously. The future that can be predicted is not the real future. Knowing too much is not a good thing. Seiko looked at the words on the scroll and muttered to himself, his pupils trembled slightly, his eyes became brighter and brighter, and he suddenly became enlightened. That's right, knowing the future, she can completely change that fact as long as she wants. Mr. Kakashi, the future Konoha is very good. Don't worry about those things, we can follow our own deployment. Seiko, who has a clear understanding, regained his previous look, and said to Kakashi in high spirits. At least, Seiko is sure that within 10 years, Konoha will not be in any danger. Fine. Seeing Sako's attitude, Kakashi opened his mouth, but closed his mouth and stopped asking. If Zuozi doesn't say anything, it's meaningless for him to ask again. A tavern Yu Hahong, who is in full bloom, is drinking by herself with a wine glass alone. His proud figure and big black waves exude mature charm all the time. Damn Naruto, what do you mean? Shi Hahong was holding the wine glass, her crystal clear red eyes were out of focus, and she said in distress with a slight frown. Just a few days ago, Asuma confessed to her suddenly. But because of Naruto, Kuroyuki did not agree to Asuma, but flatly refused. But Naruto's attitude made Yuhi Hong very annoyed. Teacher Hong, so you are here. Suddenly, Naruto's voice came to Yuhi Hong's ear, and Yuhi Hong was awakened by the other party in a trance. Naruto. When Yu Hahong saw the person coming, a trace of shyness appeared on her face, and she buried her head in her chest and said in a low voice. She thought Naruto heard what she said before, deeply touching. Teacher Hong, I have something to ask you. Naruto looked at the shy Yuhi Hong, rolled his eyes, stepped forward to grab Yuhi Hong, and directly launched the Flying Thunder God technique. Here, it is not conducive to his operation. Hey, you haven't paid me yet. The tavern owner looked at the suddenly empty seats, and after being stunned for a moment, he shouted angrily. However, to no avail. Naruto home, Naruto, what did you bring me to your house for? Seeing the surrounding scene, Yuhihong reacted belatedly, opened Naruto's eyes and dodged and said. At the same time, the little heart is beating wildly like a deer. Teacher Hong, there will be changes in the horse Jonin world. For your safety, I have prepared a gift for you. Naruto explained the situation with a smile, raised his hand, and a pair of Mangekyo Sharingan appeared in his hand. It is Itachi's Tsukuyomi's Phantom Eye, and Obito's Phantom Eye. For the illusion-type Jonin's Yuhihong, these eyes are more suitable for her. Mangekyo Sharingan. Yuhihong looked at those scarlet eyes, her pupils shrank, and she cried out. Yes, this is a pair of Mangekyo Sharingan without any side effects. Teacher Hong, with your illusion skills, having these eyes will definitely increase your strength greatly. Don't move, I'll put it on soon. Naruto explained with a light smile and started the preparations. Sharingan without side effects. Yuhihong stared at the pair of Mangekyo Sharingan with fiery eyes, swallowed subconsciously, and murmured. Ask for flowers. As an expert in illusion, Yuhihong still knows about Sharingan's ability to increase illusion. Especially after the Konoha collapse plan, the outstanding performance of the Uchiha people made her tremble even more. And the current Sharingan is the Mangekyo who surpasses the Sanguyu. It would be a lie to say that you are not moved. Here we go. When Naruto saw Yuhihong's performance, he understood her thoughts, gave a soft reminder, and gave Yuhihong acupuncture points as quickly as lightning. Yuhihong only felt numbness around the eyes, and there was darkness in front of her eyes. Naruto, who has many times of eye-changing experience, is very familiar with this, and quickly completed the eye-changing of Yuhihong. Alright. After about a few minutes, you get used to the eyes. Naruto looked at the healing wound under healing jutsu, retracted his palm and said warmly. Naruto, what the hell do you mean? You dare to give me such a precious thing, do you want to? Yuhihong closed her eyes and blushed slightly, summoning up her courage and asking loudly. What? Teacher Hong, I don't understand what you said. The joke flashed in Naruto's eyes, and he asked in a pretentious gesture. You. Damn kid, really? Yuhihong was immediately asked by Naruto, and her angry branches trembled wildly. Seeing this, Naruto also knew that the time was ripe, so he stepped forward and caught Yuhihong. To deal with this kind of royal sister, sometimes you have to be stronger. Anyway, he's not at a disadvantage, so there's nothing wrong with gambling. Yuhihong felt the breath that was close at hand, her face was flushed, and she was about to say something when Naruto blocked her mouth. In an instant, Kurani Yuhi's closed eyes widened, and the Mangekyo Sharingan of both eyes emerged as its owner. The world in front of him is even more clearly visible, and his sight is more than 10 times stronger. But at this moment, Yuhihong couldn't care about these things at all. Smelly brat, what a little bastard. Just before the fall, such a thought flashed in Yuhihong's head, and she fell into the rhythm led by Naruto. Konoha Hokage office, Naruto. I called you here today because there is a task that you need to complete alone. I don't know if you know the family of earth spiders, but I will briefly introduce them now. At the time of the Third Ninja World War, Third Hokage established an alliance with the rulers of the Soil Spider clan. The Soil Spider family is a family of secret techniques that can destroy ninja villages with one move. The powerful secret technique of the Earth Spider family is designated as a forbidden technique by the Third Hokage, and they are not allowed to use it indiscriminately. In exchange, Konoha must rush to the rescue when the Soil Spider family is in crisis. Just now, the Earth Spiders sent a signal for help, and some enemies are targeting them. Your task is to eliminate that group of enemies and protect the safety of the Tien Spider clan in that secret technique. This is the mission scroll, which contains information about the residents of the Earth Spiders. Kakashi stood beside Seiko, looked at Naruto with narrowed eyes and briefly introduced. Soil Spider Clan. The plot of the Six Tails Jinchuriki and the Hidden Evil Apprentice. Naruto thought to himself, and instantly realized what was going on. Understood. Leave this matter to me. Thinking of that beautiful female apprentice with a hot body, Naruto agreed without asking any questions. In this case, you can go. Zuozi sat on the main seat, looked down at the information in his hand, and said in a charming voice without raising his head. Okay. Lord Fifth Hokage. Naruto looked at Sako's pretty face with his head lowered seriously, laughed and teased, took the scroll handed by Kakashi and left. The in-depth discussion with Yuhihong last night put Naruto in a good mood now. Mr. Kakashi, you know the information from Advisor Jiraiya, right? After Naruto left, Seiko raised his head sharply, staring ahead sharply, and said to Kakashi beside him. Cloud Shinobi, Rock Shinobi, and Mist Shinobi have already started preparing combat supplies. Uchiha Madara is also on the trail of Six Tails Jinchuriki Yudaka. Master Jiraiya, I've found some traces of shell tissue. The ninja world is about to usher in a big change. Kakashi's lazy expression suddenly changed, and he said in a solemn voice. Indeed so. Teacher Kakashi. Inform Advisor Tsunade and Staff Luju to start preparing strategic materials, and we have to prepare in advance. The excitement in Sako's eyes disappeared in a flash, and he put down the scroll in his hand and ordered. To be honest, after becoming Nine Tails Jinchuriki and owning Rinnegan, Seiko hasn't made a single shot yet. She is actually looking forward to this battle. Kakashi didn't know Sako's strength. He answered in a low voice with a heavy heart after having experienced 3 brutal battles. Over Konoha village, Naruto's figure was drawn into an afterimage, and according to the position on the scroll, he quickly flew towards the stronghold of the earth spiders. Accidental discovery. Uzumaki Naruto has left Konoha. I have to inform Madara-sama immediately. On a big tree outside Konoha village, the head of White Zetsu's avatar suddenly appeared, staring at Naruto's distant afterimage and muttering in his mouth. Naruto, who has not entered Kurama mode, really has not discovered the existence of this White Zetsu avatar. The floating ability of this Otsutsuki family is too cool. It is simply comparable to the ability of Wukong. Well, it's just a little slow. Naruto muttered to himself with his eyes shining. His figure floated among the blue sky and white clouds, like a god's mansion, overlooking the world. The feeling of flying freely is not comparable to bamboo dragonflies. With a clear goal, Naruto didn't need to look for clues, and flew straight to the destination. Earth Spider Fortress. This old man, is he planning to guard the fort by himself? I really didn't expect that so much time would be wasted. 2 of the wandering ninjas stared at the old man who fell on the ground and said unhappily. Stop talking nonsense, hurry up and release information about forbidden technique. The 3rd wandering ninja looked up at the peaceful fortress and urged anxiously. For some reason, he always has a bad feeling. Hey, old man. Where is the forbidden technique of the Warwalker hidden? The 4th wandering ninja stepped forward quickly, grabbed the old man's collar and questioned him ferociously. The wandering ninja just now suddenly changed his eyes, reminded his teammates, and quickly retreated. What? The wandering ninja who grabbed the old man's collar questioned it because he didn't know why, but before he finished speaking, he felt his eyes darken and gradually lost consciousness. The other 3 wandering ninjas shrank their pupils when they saw the inexplicable death of their companions, turned around and fled without hesitation. Did you escape? Naruto floated in midair, curled his lips, copied Tien's thoughts and activated again. The wandering ninja who fled in 3 directions stopped almost at the same time, and fell to the ground with a distorted expression. Naruto, shattering their brains with thoughts for a split second. Tian's thoughts are still too weak. Just like this, it feels a little powerless. For the battle above the super shadow, it will not play a decisive role at all. As long as the reaction is fast enough, the enemy can explode chakra to resist this attack. Naruto slowly fell from midair, opened his white eyes to observe the situation of a few wandering ninjas, and muttered to himself. This old man should be the guardian of that beauty dong. After confirming that there were no enemies, Naruto looked down at the old man who was lying on the ground, and thought secretly, igniting the green light of healing jutsu in his hand. Cough cough. You are Konoha's reinforcements. Under Naruto's powerful medical ninjutsu, the old man quickly regained consciousness, and after seeing Naruto's forehead protector, he said calmly. Well, I was ordered by 5th Hokage to come to support. Seeing that he was conscious, Naruto nodded to admit his identity. My name is Dunbingwei, and I am Miss Ying's attendant. Miss Ying went to the village where the earth spiders live in seclusion, and you can quickly catch up with Miss Ying by passing through there. However, because I stopped the enemy before, I blew up the hole. Now I can only go around by another road. The Dunbingwei pointed to a buried passage, and smiled wryly at Naruto. Don't bother, let's go. Naruto turned his head and glanced at the passage, and curled his lips indifferently. Just as the Dunbingwei was about to speak, a sand table appeared under him, leading him into the air quickly. Naruto, on the other hand, was floating 2 meters in front of him. Fly ninjutsu. The Dunbingwei looked down and sighed tremblingly. Boy, you're going in the wrong direction. Suddenly, the escape guard looked at the direction he was heading, and he opened his mouth to remind Naruto. No, I've seen her. Naruto opened his eyes, looked at the man and woman below and said calmly, and the figure quickly flew there. Just to become stronger, learn from the guy who was hunted down. You may regret it in the future. Six Tails Jinchuriki Yu-Gao once again solemnly rejected Hotaru's request to become a teacher. I trust Lord Bubble. I beg you to accept me as an apprentice. I will respect Master Bubble as my teacher for the rest of my life. Thinking of the fate she bears, the young girl Ying asked loudly, unwillingly. Don't call me a teacher anymore. Yugao's calm face suddenly changed, and he shouted angrily at Ying. This kind of firefly reminded Yu Gao of his teacher and the painful memories behind him. Miss Ying, since this one is unwilling to accept you as an apprentice, you might as well worship me as your teacher. Just when Hotaru was about to say something, Naruto's figure suddenly flashed beside her, smiling brightly. At the same time, Naruto looked at Yu Gao, who was opposite. Brother, since you don't want this beautiful apprentice, then I won't be polite. How did this guy appear? Six Tails Jinchuriki Yu Gao's pupils shrank suddenly, and his body suddenly retreated tens of meters away, staring at Naruto vigilantly, and instantly opened the distance. As for Hotaru's safety, Yu Gao was not worried. From the tone of Naruto's speech just now, and the forehead protector on Naruto's head, it should not be an enemy. You, who are you? Why should I worship you as a teacher? Firefly turned her head to look at Naruto, and after seeing Naruto's handsome side face, her face flushed slightly, and she pretended to be dissatisfied and shouted coquettishly. Me? I am Konoha Jonin, Uzumaki Naruto, who was ordered to protect you. Aren't you looking for someone to learn from and become stronger? I'm very good. Naruto stared at the blonde curly-haired Hotaru without squinting, and said calmly. Impossible. Master Bubble is the most powerful ninja. The fangirl Hotaru has already been conquered by Yu Gao's strength. How could she believe Naruto's words? She retorted loudly reflexively. Firefly, he is indeed better than me. Since you want to apprentice, just find him. After knowing Naruto's identity and purpose of coming, Yu Gao realized that this is an opportunity to get rid of Hotaru, and said solemnly after Hotaru exited. In terms of strength, Yu Gao did not lie. He faintly felt the pressure from Naruto. What? How can that be? Master Bubble, you must be lying, right? Ying's delicate body trembled, and a pair of beautiful eyes showed suspicion, staring at Yu Gao questioningly. Firefly, don't be naive. I'm just an entertainer who was hunted down. It's impossible to accept you as an apprentice. Now there are people from Konoha to protect you, so it's time for us to part. There was a flash of struggle in Yu Gao's eyes, but thinking of Mist Shinobi Anbu who was chasing and killing him, he still made up his mind. You still have some sharp eyesight. Mist Shinobi's renegade, Six Tails Jinchuriki. However, I advise you not to run around at. I don't know if you know, but the reality is like this. Our way, 3 tails, 4 tails, 5 tails, 7 tails, have been recycled by Uchiha Madara. It's very dangerous for you to run around alone. Naruto narrowed his eyes, stared at Yu Gao and said calmly. What? Uchiha Madara? When Yu Gao heard this legendary name, he even forgot that Naruto knew his identity, and exclaimed with a drastic change in expression. Ninja? Yudaka? Tail Beast? Uchiha Madara? What the hell does this happen? Hotaru was confused by the huge amount of information Naruto said, and hurriedly looked at Naruto and asked. Miss Ying. Since the other party is a Mist Shinobi rebellious, or a dangerous Six Tails Jinchuriki, you should stay away from him. This Konoha boy is very strong. With him here, it is enough to guarantee our safety. As soon as Ying finished her question, Dunbingwei stepped on the sand table and descended from the sky, landed beside Ying, looking at Yugo and said vigilantly. Dunbingwei, it's great that you're alright. Seeing the Dunbingwei alive and well, Ying instantly forgot the previous question, stepped forward to look at the Dunbingwei, and smiled excitedly. Thanks to the timely support of this Uzumaki Jonin, my life was saved. Ms. Hotaru, please don't get too entangled with Mist Shinobi's betrayal. Anbu from Mist Shinobi is more dangerous than the wandering ninjas chasing us. The Dunbingwei pointed to Naruto and explained, then blinked at Yugo and warned. Before there was no choice, Dunbingwei had no choice but to let Ying follow Yu Gao. Now with Konoha's reinforcements and knowing Yu Gao's identity, Dunbingwei naturally knows how to choose. But Ying pouted her small mouth, turned her head to look at Yu Gao, and hesitated to speak. Enough, Firefly. Konoha ninja, I will verify the information you mentioned. Yu Gao took a deep look at Hotaru, then met Naruto and said in a deep voice. With Naruto's protection, he can also leave with peace of mind. Immediately, Yu Gao reached out and took out the ninja tool from his waist, blew out a big bubble to wrap himself, and flew towards the sky. Have they gone? Then go with you. She's not a big beauty, she lives and dies, and wealth depends on the sky. Looking at Yu Gao's figure floating away, Naruto curled his lips and thought to himself. At the same time outside Konoha village, Ino Shika-cho, the new 39 Tails Jinchuriki? Black Zetsu, there is no problem with your information. Uchiha Madara with white hair and white robe, holding a Uchiha round fan, stared at the peaceful Konoha village in the distance and said indifferently. Yes, Lord Madara. A new generation of Ino Shika-cho, the 39 Tails Jinchuriki. Now they are, in Konoha village. Standing beside Uchiha Madara, Black Zetsu responded with a respectful voice, with a fiery light hidden in his eyes. As soon as Uchiha Madara devours the 39 tails, it has the power to unleash the infinite Tsukuyomi. When the time comes, it's time for Mother Kagaya to revive. So, just recycle 9 tails. Uchiha Madara waved his hand in high spirits, and the Uchiha round fan in his hand sent out a hurricane, which went straight to the Konoha gate. Chidori. Sako's pupils flashed brightly, and her keen fighting sense allowed her to instantly grasp the moment when Uchiha Madara froze. Immediately abandoning Shenluo Tianzhong, he raised his hand and fired a super Chidori, which directly pierced Uchiha Madara's chest. Uchiha Madara, who was restrained by the shadow imitation technique, was caught off guard and watched Seiko give him a heart-pounding attack. Successful. Seiko looked at the wounded Uchiha Madara in surprise, and retreated sharply, the Chidori in his hand extended into a Chidori sharp gun, and made up the knife again without hesitation. The shadow art of Nara's house. Is it because of the existence of 9 tails that it surpasses ordinary binding force? Nara Shikamaru, one of the targets. Uchiha Madara ignored being pierced through the chest by the Chidori sharp gun, and stared at Shikamaru who was rushing forward with sharp and longing eyes, and said in surprise. As for the damage from Seiko, Uchiha Madara didn't care at all. As a 10 tails Jinchuriki, the fatal injuries to ordinary people are insignificant at all. Shikamaru, who has the blessing of second generation 9 tails chakra, is traveling in a very cool way at this time. Under his feet, a thin line of shadow as black as ink shot out at a super high speed, taking Shikamaru's body forward quickly. From a distance, it looks like flying close to the ground. Fortunately, we caught up. 5th generation, are you okay? Shikamaru quickly dodged to Seiko who was floating in midair, staring at Uchiha Madara as if he was facing a big enemy, and said solemnly. Under Shikamaru's feet, 2 hair-thin shadows connect to the ground from his feet, allowing him to stay in the air. Because of the blessing of second generation 9 tails chakra, Shikamaru has been able to collect shadows with a radius of 1 kilometer for his own use. Manipulating the shadow is even more handy. I'm fine. Shikamaru, you restrain him, I'll attack. Seiko stared at Uchiha Madara and ordered without looking back. Okay. Shikamaru quickly seals his hands, so he needs to increase the strength of the shadow binding technique. Ha ha. This level of attack, 1 time is enough. Nara's little devil, the 9 tails inside you, I accept it. Uchiha Madara, who was bound by the shadow, stared at the two arrogantly and shouted. While speaking, the Rinnegan purple on in the eye socket trembled, and the hungry Kido's ability residing inside was activated. The shadow wrapped around Uchiha Madara's body was quickly absorbed, and disappeared within Uchiha Madara's body in an instant. What's more, the powerful absorbing power actually pulled out a trace of 9 tails power from Shikamaru's body. Not good. Danger. Seiko and Shikamaru reacted at the same time, attacking at the same time with a tacit understanding. The Chidori sharp gun in Sako's hand instantly burst into dazzling thunder, piercing into the body of Uchiha Madara, blooming in all directions. The red 9 tails chakra coat instantly appeared on Shikamaru's body, and the 9 tails chakra wrapped the shadow, forming a dense black and red 1,000 copies, and shot directly at Uchiha Madara at a berserk speed. In an instant, it was as terrifying as a storm. Interesting. Seeing the stormy attack, Uchiha Madara smiled disdainfully, and fully activated Kido's ability. Whether it is Sako's Chidori sharp gun or Shikamaru's Shadow 1000 copies, they are all attack methods made by chakra. Therefore, these two attacks were absorbed by Uchiha Madara without exception and turned into their own chakra. Even the chest that was cut open by Zuozi healed quickly, and the injury was healed in a blink of an eye without any damage. Our attack has been absorbed. Terrifying recovery ability. Shikamaru reacted quickly, stopped continuing to attack, looked directly at Uchiha Madara's chest, and said in a deep voice. Hungry Kito's ability, it's a little troublesome. Seiko, who also owns Rinnegan, looked at Uchiha Madara's Rinnegan and murmured firmly. I admit that you are all powerful juniors, but that's all for now. In order to avoid complications, I only have to make a quick decision. Uchiha Madara floated in midair, staring at the two with cold eyes, sighing indifferently. Quick fight? Ha ha. Uchiha Madara, you are so arrogant. When Seiko heard Uchiha Madara's arrogant words, he immediately yelled with a smile back from his anger. At the same time, the Susanoo on his body began to rise, and the purple Susanoo quickly appeared. Although the senior ninjas are powerful, but us juniors are not underestimated. Seeing this situation, Shikamaru snorted coldly, communicated with the second generation Nine Tails Chingchu Xingchun in his body, and turned on the Nine Tails mode. The golden chakra coat is now outside Shikamaru's body, and Shikamaru, who is wearing Naruto's nine-tailed cloak of the same style, stands beside Seiko. And us. Villagers nearby, 5th generation, Shikamaru, have evacuated safely. A cold voice suddenly sounded from behind Shikamaru. Then came Choji in the form of a giant, and Ino standing on Choji's shoulders. With the blessing of second generation Nine Tails chakra, Choji can now transform into a 100-meter giant without relying on the Akamichi family's secret medicine. Mind and body technique. Standing on Choji's shoulder, Ino aimed at Uchiha Madara with both hands, and directly launched the Yamanaka secret technique. Drink. With the tacit cooperation, Choji immediately waved the tens of meters long iron rod in his hand, and threw it towards Uchiha Madara in midair. Have you safely escorted the people around you to retreat? Now you can let go of your hands and feet. The corners of Shikamaru's mouth curled up, and he murmured quickly. His hands formed mudras. A huge black arm appeared from the ground, and grabbed Uchiha Madara. Ino Shika-cho, who also had the warning of second generation Nine Tails, discovered the existence of Uchiha Madara in the first place. Shikamaru and Seiko had similar ideas. Both decided to intercept Uchiha Madara to buy time for Ino and Choji to evacuate the crowd. With the blessing of second generation Nine Tails, Ino directly has a large-scale distracted technique, which directly controls the rapid and orderly evacuation of civilians. Choji is the incarnation of the captain of the transportation team, writing that Ninja and Anbu are simultaneously carrying out the transfer of civilians. Cut. Seeing Ino Shika-cho's combination attack, Seiko saw the timing and urged Susanoo to slash down. Even with Uchiha Madara's Hungry Kito ability, it is impossible to absorb these attack energies in an instant. Quack quack. Ino Shika-cho is here. Then, these three Nine Tails, I'm not welcome. Uchiha Madara of technique, who was in a state of confusion, broke free from Ino's secret technique just for a moment, watching the three attacks coming, and said with a grin. In the next moment, the three combined attacks of Choji, Shikamaru, and Seiko were about to touch Uchiha Madara the moment before. The three of them were severely injured by a force at the same time, and their attacks were forcibly interrupted. Choji and Seiko were alright, with huge bodies for support, they just flew upside down tens of meters away. Shikamaru was directly blasted hundreds of meters away and disappeared in this battlefield. How is this possible? Force? No, I didn't feel the breath of Shenluo Tianzhong. What kind of attack is this? Seiko stood on the forehead of Susan, who fell to the ground, frowning in puzzlement and meditating. What's the situation? What kind of attack is this? Choji, who was also knocked into the air, covered his chest and yelled bitterly. This is Uchiha Madara's shadow attack. You cannot see him, nor perceive him. Now I'm in trouble. Second generation Nine Tails Chingchu Shinguang, who resided in Choji's body, reminded with a dignified expression. They inherited Kurama's memory, and also knew the picture of the nine-tailed beast being killed by this trick. No stranger to this. Seiko couldn't see the existence of the Shadow Madara because he didn't get Luguyu Rinnegan. What? Invisible attack? Then how to fight this? Ino, who also heard Chingchu Xingyao's explanation, rolled his eyes and shouted in a daze. Invisible attack? Ino, Choji, what's going on? Kakashi and Tsunade, who came late, heard Ino's shout as soon as they stepped into the battlefield, stepped forward and asked, "Kamui?" At the same time, Kakashi unfolded the Scarlet Kamui Mangekyo, looking directly at Uchiha Madara to launch Kamui. Because Kakashi's sneak attack was too fast and space-time ninjutsu was difficult to defend against, Uchiha Madara was caught off guard and had an arm removed instantly. This is because he reacted quickly and avoided his head in time. Obito's Kamui Mangekyo? It's a nice eye, worth collecting. Uchiha Madara, who was plotted against, didn't have the slightest intention to fight back immediately, and said in a low voice while staring at Kakashi's left eye with his floating body. At the same time, his arms are growing and recovering rapidly. What a powerful healing ability. This level of regenerative power is even more powerful than my ninja art. Meiotic regeneration Baihao technique. Tsunade stared at Uchiha Madara's fast-regenerating severed arm, and murmured absent-mindedly. "Master Tsunade, this is not the time to lament the enemy's abilities. He just used an attack we couldn't see to sneak attack us. Moreover, the attack method is very fishy. Nine Tails said it was Uchiha Madara's shadow attack, invisible and intangible. We must formulate a combat plan as soon as possible." Ino immediately opened his mouth to explain the information, and watched Uchiha Madara floating in the air with a vigilant expression. Invisible shadow attack. Kakashi's pupils shrank suddenly, and after taking a breath, he said solemnly, "This ability is simply unheard of, and it's an incomprehensible ability. You can't even see it, so how can you fight? Wrong. There must be some kind of limitation or weakness in his abilities. Master Tsunade, Ino, Choji, you cooperate with me to attack. I want to verify a conjecture." In vain. Kakashi thought of something, stared at Uchiha Madara nervously, and shouted in a solemn voice, "Have any ideas so soon? As expected of Mr. Kakashi. Mr. Kakashi, we listen to you." Choji, who had changed back to his original body size, looked at Kakashi in surprise, and hummed excitedly. "Choji, you and Tsunade-sama faint head on, and I'll cover for you. Ino, you tell the 5th generation." Kakashi said quickly to several people in a low voice, the Mangekyo Sharingan in his pupils aimed at Uchiha Madara and turned rapidly. Expansion Jutsu. Choji formed seals with both hands and broke out Nine Tails chakra once again turned into a 100-meter giant. Master Tsunade, offended. Choji yelled at Tsunade who had jumped into his palm, swung his arm with all his strength, and threw Tsunade like a weapon. Ninja Spiral Chakra Scalpel. He rushed towards Uchiha Madara's Tsunade at a high speed, shouted coquettishly, and 2 spiral chakra scalpels appeared in his hands, stabbing at Uchiha Madara. Shout, kid tricks. Uchiha Madara looked at Tsunade who was flying over quickly and gave a disdainful smile. The floating body moved and was about to leave quickly. "You can't run away. Turn your heart around technique." The moment Uchiha Madara moved his body, Ino's voice sounded in his head, and his body involuntarily stopped in place. "Little devil of the Yamanaka family, aren't you too good? Just control your heart technique, haven't you realized despair just now? Then, feel powerless despair again." Uchiha Madara sneered disdainfully, feeling the awareness of competing for control of the body. Immediately, Uchiha Madara's consciousness pounced on Ino like a sea of kings, and crushed it like a crushing one. "HMPH, I'm not alone this time. Xingyao, let's go together." Ino's conscious body looked at the surging sea of consciousness, smiled lightly, and the conscious body immediately turned into Nine Tails mode. This is a new mind-turning technique developed by Ino by combining his own secret technique with Nine Tails' will. The will of Nine Tails is very strong, even if it is only 2nd generation Nine Tails, it is not an existence that ordinary people can compare to. In an instant, Nine Tails Ino's consciousness body collided with Uchiha Madara's consciousness, and they were evenly matched and froze in place. Nine Tails. Feeling the other party's powerful consciousness, Uchiha Madara's expression changed instantly, and he said in a cold and hateful voice. Although he gathered several tailed beasts and obtained their chakra, he didn't have the ability to use the will of the tailed beasts. On the contrary, he still needs to spread his will to suppress several tailed beasts, as well as 10 Tails' weak awakened will. In this regard, Uchiha Madara is not strong enough to kill 2nd generation Nine Tails in seconds. Outside world, the arrow of Indra. Seiko, who was notified by Ino's secret technique, immediately used her strongest ultimate move to attack Uchiha Madara. Kakashi also saw the right moment, looking at Uchiha Madara's head, and launched Kamui again. Fist together. Choji, who turned into a giant, swung his fists the size of a house and collided one left and one right. In the middle is Uchiha Madara, who can't move. Strange power fist. And Tsunade's attack is also close at hand, aiming at Uchiha Madara's face, once again giving the spiral chakra scalpel a state of strange power, launching a powerful attack. Slightly, a little bit of blood boiling. Seeing the attacks from all directions, Uchiha Madara let out a sliver of willpower and exclaimed, the Rinnegan in the pupil of the right eye, and the Fugaku Mangekyo in the left eye were shining brightly. In the next moment, the distorted Kamui space in front of Uchiha Madara's head instantly shifted to his chest. Tsunade, who flew over at a high speed, collided with it without any accident, and was torn into the Kamui space in the blink of an eye. Not good. Kakashi, who controls Kamui, sees this scene and instantly increases the output of pupil power, and directly throws Tsunade into the Kamui space. Instead of ripping off parts of Uchiha Madara's body as originally intended. At the same time, Seiko, Choji, Ino, and Kakashi standing on the ground were instantly knocked into the air. Although Sako's Indra arrow hit Uchiha Madara, it didn't have a fatal effect at all. What a fast attack speed, however, the information is basically enough. Kakashi, who was knocked into the air, was spinning rapidly in his mind, suddenly thinking of something, and said in a low voice. Do you want to get information about the round tomb and border prison? Hitaki Kakashi, what a guy with a keen sense of combat. Uchiha Madara, whose shadow returned to his body, felt the last message the shadow heard, stared at Kakashi and sighed. Then, you go to die. Fire-style Longyan sings technique. A strange color flashed in Uchiha Madara's eyes, and he clapped his hands quickly, and the 5 fire dragons flew towards Kakashi at super-fast speed. Ms. Kakashi. Ino and Choji, who were knocked into the air, shouted at the same time, and the 9 tails chakra on their bodies erupted, trying to resist the 5 fire dragons. You two pets, be honest with me. Uchiha Madara, who had been prepared for a long time, swung out a few chakra black sticks, and pierced the 2 of them first, interrupting their movements. My chakra, out of control. What is this? Chakra is so disorganized that it can't materialize. Ino and Choji shouted in amazement at the same time, their eyes showing horror. Not good, Mr. Kakashi. Ino suddenly thought of something, turned his head and looked at Kakashi-san, who was surrounded by 5 fire dragons and was in danger. Universal pull. Suddenly, Sako's pupils in the distance shrank, and Mangekyo instantly transformed into Rinnegan, stretching out his hand and shouting. Although the distance is too far, there is still a fire dragon that is attracted by Seiko and deviates from the direction, opening a way for Kakashi to survive. Kakashi seized the opportunity and burst out with full speed, escaping Uchiha Madara's fire-style attack. It's the same weapon as Tendo Pain that can scramble Jinchuriki Chakra's black stick. Now I'm in trouble. Kakashi, who had seen Pain and Naruto fight, instantly understood what the black stick was, and said solemnly. Disturbing Jinchuriki's weapons? This is indeed a bit of a hassle. His left eye is the same Mangekyo pupil technique as my father. Just now, he used the ability to divert attacks to remove my attacks. Moreover, that Mangekyo can also switch to the white-eyed state freely, making it difficult to launch a sneak attack. Kakashi-sensei, did you get any results from your trial just now? Seiko dodged to Kakashi's side, staring at Uchiha Madara vigilantly and said coldly. I see. I was still wondering why my Kamui attack shifted its position just after Chi. 5th generation. Wait until I release Master Tsunade before making a battle plan. Kakashi sighed knowingly, and the Mangekyo in his pupils turned, about to pull Tsunade out of the Kamui space. No, Kakashi. I'm out now. Tell me now, the information you have found. Suddenly, Tsunade's voice sounded from Sako's side. The space around Seiko was distorted instantly, and Tsunade's figure quickly materialized. Mangekyo Sharingan? Tsunade-sama, you have it too. Could it be? Seiko turned his head sharply, saw the different Mangekyo Sharingan in Tsunade's pupils, and exclaimed thoughtfully. Kakashi next to him, looking at the Kamui Mangekyo pattern in Tsunade's pupils, was also shocked. At the same time, I am very happy for Sako's Rinnegan. Well, Naruto gave it to me. Kakashi, no time to explain this. Tell me what you think. Tsunade explained to Seiko, took a deep look at Sako's Rinnegan, then looked at Kakashi and urged. Yes, Master Tsunade. No ninjutsu or secret technique can be perfect. So, I guess Uchiha Madara's attack should also have some restrictions. After the cooperation just now, I deduce that his technique has at least a time limit. Just now, he didn't activate that technique immediately. But after blocking our attack, start to fight back. Possibly, this has something to do with the time when he performed the operation just now. However, there is also a bad intelligence. That means the opponent's attack speed is too fast. And no fear of physical attacks, as if unreal. We were in different positions, but we were still knocked into the air in an instant. I can't see the opponent's position, and the attack speed is so fast, this time it's troublesome. If there is no other way, you can only use the gap in the technique to launch a counterattack after receiving the opponent's attack. Kakashi gave a quick explanation with a wry smile, thinking about countermeasures with a headache all over his face. Is there a time limit? It's reasonable, and quite possible. Seiko, who has the Rinnegan pupil technique, agreed with deep emotion. In that case, summoning technique, 5th generation, Kakashi, I am in charge of treating you this time. Use the gap of that technique to launch a counterattack. Tsunade flicked his robe, bit his fingers and quickly summoned a calf-sized Katsuyu, stood beside Katsuyu and shouted loudly. The summoned Katsuyu immediately split into 2 split bodies and crawled towards Seiko and Kakashi. I don't need it. Sako's eyes sharpened, the golden chakra cloak ignited on his body, his aura changed, and Kurama mode was activated. This is. How is this possible? Shikamaru, who rushed back quickly, saw Sako's 9 tails mode as soon as he appeared. Unlike Kakashi and Tsunade, Shikamaru clearly sensed the power of 9 tails in Seiko. That is, the full body and tail chakra, 9 tails mode. Naruto this guy. Seeing Sako's state, Tsunade's pupils dilated and then narrowed rapidly, biting his lips and muttering to himself. Kakashi looked at Seiko enviously, relying only on his own Kakashi. In Super Cage level battles, chakra was also very stretched. Another 9 tails splinter. Wrong. This feeling is exactly the same as the 9 tails I remember. How is this going? Uzumaki Naruto dead? Or, a second real 9 tails? Uchiha Madara, who was floating in midair, looked down at Seiko below, with a burst of surprise. Forget it, whatever he is. Rinnegan and 9 tails, I want them all. After being stunned for a moment, Uchiha Madara stared at Seiko more greedily, and shouted excitedly. 2nd generation 9 tails. The value of Zuozi is much more than that of Master Song's 2nd generation 9 tails. Universal pull. Seiko stretched out his hand and pierced the chakra black sticks on Ino and Choji, and they were instantly pulled out. The 2 people in the 9 tails mode also recovered their combat strength in an instant, and came to Seiko and the others in a flash. Ino, Choji. You should have heard the information from Mr. Kakashi just now. The 3 of us went to force him to use that special technique. 5th generation, Mr. Kakashi, you are waiting for the opportunity. Master Tsunade, get your medical preparations. Shikamaru, who also heard Kakashi's information, stretched out his hand, and 2 dark shadows connected to Ino and Choji, commanding in a solemn voice. Shikamaru is well aware of Ino Shikacho's ability positioning. Even with the help of 9 tails, in this kind of battle beyond cage level, their attack ability is still limited. On the contrary, there is absolutely no problem playing support. Ino and Choji responded at the same time, the 9 tails chakra on their body erupted, and their hands quickly formed seals. Seiko and Kakashi looked at each other, tacitly preparing their respective big moves. Tsunade comes last, backing up the healing abilities of Kakashi and Ino Shikacho 4. Ino Shikacho, fainting, is dangerous. Even with 2nd generation 9 tails, Tsunade is still worried about giving them a little Katsuyu, just in case. Shikamaru, you really have the potential to become a Hokage. This guy is very good at grasping and analyzing the current situation. Seiko did not object to Shikamaru's arrangement, and had a little bit of approval in his heart that Shikamaru would become a 6th generation project in the future. 6 versus do more people bully less. In this case, the wood clone technique. Looking at the 6 people standing in formation, Uchiha Madara also understood the opponent's purpose, stretched out his hands and shouted. Round tomb boundary prison, but at the critical moment, they want to sneak attack Seiko and capture 9 tails and Rinnegan. Rinnegan plus Eternal Mangekyo plus 9 tails Jinchuriki's Seiko is worth keeping Uchiha Madara behind. In an instant, 18 wooden sticks popped up behind Uchiha Madara, split quickly and turned into 18 wood clone. Compared with Shadow Clone, the strength of wood clone is even better. As soon as the 18 wood clones appeared, They unanimously activated Susanoo to add a layer of protection and strengthen their attacks. Whoosh whoosh. Shikamaru, Ino, and Choji were each targeted by 3 Madara clones. Kakashi and Tsunade also suffered the same treatment. The remaining 3 Madara clones, and Uchiha Madara's main body, stared at Seiko. Trouble. If this continues, the aftermath of the battle will destroy Konoha. Hateful. Shikamaru looked at the 3 100-meter-tall Susan Madara avatars in front of him with a dark face, and muttered worriedly. As for his own safety, Shikamaru is not worried. Now he can also use the power of Tailed Beast. Hateful. It's Grandpa's wood style. This guy Madara, Tien will also be wood style. Tsunade looked at the 18 wood clone, and the Scarlet Mangekyo flashed a trace of surprise, and shouted angrily. No solution anymore, they can only be transferred at once. Seiko also understood the current situation, and after taking a deep breath, he tried his best to save up Shenluo Tianzheng. She's going to blow these Madara clones out at once. Absolutely not, let them wreak havoc here, affecting Konoha. Uchiha Seiko. Your chakra flows, I have seen it clearly. It's too slow to activate the pupil technique. Uchiha Madara yelled rebelliously, the Mangekyo in his left eye has switched to a white-eyed state. At the same time, Uchiha Madara waved his hand and counted until Chakra's black stick appeared out of thin air, rushing towards Seiko at an extremely fast speed. Knowing that Seiko was accumulating strength, Kakashi immediately launched Kamui to intercept those chakra black sticks. Excellent fit. Unfortunately, you fell for it. The Madara body floating in the air suddenly grinned, looked at Kakashi mockingly and sighed. In the next moment, the clone of Madara, who was staring at Kakashi closely, shot directly, blocking the escape route from 3 directions, and slashed at Kakashi with one blow. Kakashi, the nearest Tsunade exclaimed, and was about to go to block it when she was entangled by Madara's avatar who was staring at her. Kakashi and Tsunade, both of whom are shadows at this time, are suppressing Madara's clone. It can only be said to be barely self-protected. Drink. In an extremely critical situation, Seiko, who was accumulating strength, had no choice but to give up the accumulated chakra, and a giant purple Susanoo hand appeared, blocking the attack for Kakashi. Call. 5th generation, you don't have to. It is also his plan to force you to shoot and interrupt your ninjutsu. Moreover, the opponent's black stick weapon restrains the human calendar. You have to be careful. Kakashi stood beside Seiko, panting and staring at Madara, sighed in disappointment. This is Uchiha Madara's plot, and Kakashi will fall into his trap whether he stops it or not. The will of fire carried out by Konoha is his confidence. That's right. But so what? My strength is not just that of 9 tails. Seiko snorted softly, the purple ons in his pupils flourished, and the full body of Susanoo quickly materialized. Seiko, who has a 9 tails power bank, using pure Susanoo is even more handy. Kakashi, also brought by Seiko to the cause of the crystal on Susanoo-hira's forehead. Looking down at Susanoo, which is about 200 meters high, Kakashi's pupils shrank suddenly. This height is even taller than Uchiha Madara's Susanoo. This is, the full Susanoo, unbelievably taller than my Susanoo. What a genius. Uchiha Madara also looked at the mighty and extraordinary Seiko Susan with amazed eyes, and sighed with an unexpected expression. Uchiha Seiko, you are really surprising me more and more. Then, I should also come up with some means, so as not to be compared by a junior. Uchiha Madara looked at Tsunade and shouted loudly, and the Susanoo on his body also quickly materialized. The blue Susanoo, fully formed in the blink of an eye, stood opposite Seiko. It's just that he is still slightly inferior to Seiko in height, just comparable to his shoulders. So, is that our enemy? It's just horrible. Don't be afraid, Master 5th generation is still fighting there. That guy doesn't seem to be as powerful as Lord 5th generation. Yes, we not only have 5th generation Sama, but also Tsunade-sama and Kakashi-sama. And those 10 newly promoted geniuses, as well as the strongest genius ninja, Uzumaki Naruto. Well, those guys should have passed by too. Konoha won't just wither. It's just Uchiha Madara. Let him see how powerful we junior ninjas are. Hidden in Hokage Rock, the Konoha shinobi who protect the common people observe the situation in the distance and express their opinions in a hurry. At the same time, a group of ninjas from the previous generation gathered on the top of the Hokage Rock, looking nervously on guard. Fugaku, Shirju, Haiichi, Dingza, Yuhihong, Anko, etc. Hai has exchanged information with Ino using secret techniques, and they were left here to wait for orders by Zuozi. The strength of Uchiha Madara does not come from the fact that there are many people working together. This side of the battlefield. Tsunade, who was besieged by 3 Madara avatars Susanade, was exhausted at this time. What a hassle. My strange power has no effect on Kamisuzu at all. Thanks to these 2 Mangekyo, I can persevere. Tsunade, who was injured again, yelled out of embarrassment. Kamui Mangekyo Sharingan in the left eye turned, his body entered a hollow state, and quickly backed away. Only cage-level Tsunade is still very reluctant to face the 3 Madara clones. Run? Hashirama's granddaughter uses Uchiha's power. Senju should use wood style instead of Sharingan. One of the clones of Madara who was supposed to besiege Kakashi saw Tsunade retreating and snorted coldly, stretching out his hand and punching it. The other 2 Madara clones also launched attacks at the same time as the 3 Madara clones. The time limit for the pupil technique is approaching. Tsunade unfolded the Scarlet Mangekyo and analyzed the attacks of the 6 Susanas, gritted his teeth and said in hatred. At the same time, the 100 healings mark on Tsunade's forehead began to dissipate, and chakra began to bloom in the body. Go away. 9 Tails Rasengan, Secret Technique Nanoworm Swarm. Super Teeth Roar. Twin Leaf Whirlwind. Twin Whirlwinds of Konoha. Just when Tsunade was about to launch Baihao technique to resist this wave of attacks, 6 paths different voices suddenly sounded. The attacks of the 6 Madara clones were instantly interrupted or redirected, allowing Tsunade to stop Baihao technique's launch in time. Little Sakura, Hinata, Shino, Kiba, Guy, Xiao Li, you are here. Tsunade flashed to the side of several people in an instant, looked at the crowd and said with a sigh of relief. With these new forces, there should be no problem this time. There's even a 9 Tails Jinchuriki. Hyuga girl, are you one of the 10 9 Tails? The Madara clone ignored the others, including the huge Akamaru, looked at Hinata in 9 Tails mode with both eyes and smiled meaningfully. Seeing the opportunity, Tsunade quickly explained the known information of Uchiha Madara to several people in a succinct manner. Unexpectedly, the enemy turned out to be a legendary figure, Uchiha Madara. Lee, I will go all out this time. Might Guy, who ignited green steam, looked at Uchiha Madara's body with fiery eyes and roared excitedly. Roar. This is the blood of youth. Mr. Guy, Uchiha Madara, leave it to me. I now have the strength to surpass Hokage. Having acquired the Saiyan bloodline, Xiao Li, who also glowed with green light, stared at Uchiha Madara's body with fiery eyes and said excitedly. He who inherited the Saiyan blood also inherited a bit of the warlike gene. Li, the enemy is the legendary Uchiha Madara. If not, use that taboo technique. You are my precious disciple. It is also the seedling I want to protect. No, you are already a big tree. But you are still young. This time, let me do it. Might Guy sternly rejected Xiao Li's proposal, arguing righteously. Cough cough. We are also very strong, you don't want to steal the limelight. Standing on top of the giant Akamaru's head, Inuzuka Teba scratched his head in displeasure and said. Little Sakura, Hinata, and Shino also nodded in unison. Don't you take me too seriously? Uchiha Madara's body and avatar also heard the discussion of several people. Madara's body looked at them with disdain and said coldly. Your opponent is me, Uchiha Madara, drink. The pupils of Seiko standing inside the crystal trembled, and he stared at Uchiha Madara coquettishly. At the same time, 9 Tails tailed beast is blessed into her Susanoo. Vatan Susanoo, debut. Little Sakura, Hinata, Kiba, Shino, Li. It can be compared to a ninja dog like a tailed beast. There are also those nanoworms that are invisible to the naked eye. Konoha's new generation has grown up. Standing beside Seiko, Kakashi looked down at the few people below and lost his voice. You all get out of the way. Today is the time for me to implement the way of forbearance. Seiko, just watch my performance. Mr. Guy, let you see my growth. 8 inner gates. Shocking gate open. Xiao Li roared excitedly, fearing that others would steal the head, he would directly make a big move. In an instant, blue steam belonging to the 7th gate emerged from Xiao Li's body and shot straight into the sky for hundreds of meters. The chakra caused by the eruption radiates across the field like a dry-level gale. Okay, huge chakra. Jingmun, how can there be such a strong power? Xiao Li, have you surpassed Guy? Seiko, Might Guy, Kakashi, Joe at the same time. The other people were all under the pressure of the hurricane and shocked the scene. But the most surprising thing is the 6 paths Madara floating in the sky. This brat actually has such a strong power. It's just blue steam, so if it turns red. 6 paths Madara looked at Shaoli apprehensively and said solemnly. During the World War III, the elderly Madara had seen the 8 inner gates formation worn by Might, and could only see the difference. Shaoli looked at the shocked crowd, roared, and disappeared instantly. In the next moment, he appeared behind 6 paths Madara. Without the slightest hesitation, Shaoli broke out with all his strength and kicked up. There is no time to dodge at all. Even Lun Mu couldn't keep up with his speed. The 6 paths Madara, who was kicked into the air, thought in horror. 6 paths Madara was shocked, but Shaoli was not in a daze. Like lightning, he appeared beside 6 paths Madara again, and punched him again. The gang wind brought up by the fist wind made 6 paths Madara unable to move like a sharp sword. Shaoli seized the opportunity and began to attack with all his strength. For a split second, it was the 8-gate guy crushing 6 paths Madara. Super Saiyans are all existences capable of bursting stars. Even Shaoli with a weak and inferior bloodline is not what it used to be at this time. The body's load on 8 inner gates is far beyond ordinary people. Just the state of 7th gate is comparable to King Gai's 8th gate fully open. Seiko stared blankly at the crushed 6 paths Madara, then looked down at his own 9 tails Susan, suddenly speechless. Her subordinates are too powerful, which prevents her from making full use of her space. However, Seiko still broke out chakra, using the 9 tails Susanna as a barrier to block the aftermath of the attack that split the mountain in the ground. The other Xiaoqiangs are also in a similar situation. Am I going to die? I, Uchiha Madara, will die on the body of a Konoha kid. I don't accept this result. Backquote. 6 paths Madara, whose body was shattered by the pure body technique, opened the only Rinnegan and roared wildly. Chakra all over the body, urging Rinnegan frantically. I won't let you succeed. Seeing Madara's actions, Shaoli shouted angrily, and unleashed a shocking trick with all his strength. A white tiger stronger than Yi Yigai rushed out of Shaoli and bit 6 paths Madara in one bite. Under the astonished gaze of the crowd and Madara, it was directly crushed by the white giant tiger and turned into pieces. The tailed beasts recovered by 6 paths turned into chakra and escaped from Uchiha Madara's body. For a moment, everyone was stunned. That's it. At the same time, Naruto, who was playing games with the beauty Yingying, heard a long-lost mechanical sound in his ears. Tip. Change the course of the important person Uchiha Madara to get 1 million Honkai points. Listening to the prompt sound of harvesting millions, Naruto was stunned. Uchiha Madara, what happened? Konoha, although I can't believe it, the crisis is resolved. Kakashi looked at Shaoli, who was panting slightly in disbelief, and murmured in a low voice. Well, what a surprise. Seiko also has a similar expression, disabling Susan and 9 tails mode. From this point of view, it is true that there is no need to know future intelligence. Just when everyone was relaxing, a dark shadow suddenly appeared like lightning and attached to Seiko. What? Feeling the uncontrollable Seiko all over his body, he exclaimed. Quack quack. That guy Madara is so useless. Fortunately, there are your Rinnegans. Seiko, just come with me. Black Zetsu smiled sinisterly and yelled at Seiko without shame. After everyone listened, they were nervously on guard, ready to attack at any time. Black Zetsu, you take yourself too seriously. At this moment, Naruto's figure suddenly appeared, watching Black Zetsu play. Just now, Naruto, who heard the prompt, immediately wanted to come to Konoha to inquire about Madara's situation. After all, Konoha's intelligence is much better than his alone. Uzumaki Naruto. So what if you come, either you kill me together, or you are helpless. Black Zetsu looked at Naruto calmly and exclaimed triumphantly. No, I have a third choice. Naruto gave a strange laugh, took out the Doraemon props that he had communicated with, and stretched out his hand to take a picture. Solid-state lamp can turn intangible things into solid form. Black Zetsu, illuminated by the solid-state light, instantly became solid and attached to Seiko. Naruto, who had been prepared for a long time, immediately jumped up and smashed Black Zetsu's body. Then, directly burn it with Amaterasu Black Flame. Tip. Change the course of the important person Otsutsuki Black Zetsu to get 1 million Honkai points. Hearing the prompt again, Naruto let go of his mind. I didn't expect it to become like this. Looking at the messy leaves, Naruto couldn't help sighing. In such a situation, he can only change his established strategy. In Konoha's 63 years, when the gust of wind just blew, the finale came to a hasty conclusion. Naruto, who changed his plan, used the time machine to travel to the past and future to collect collapsed points. Finally, in Konoha 65, Naruto successfully unsealed Doraemon and started the plan to transform the ninja world. Using the magnifying lamp, Naruto directly expands the ninja world 100 times. Konoha has also become the scariest ninja village in the ninja world. Above the name, Konoha 95, when the three Otsutsuki Kims came to the ninja world. What I see is that the cage level is not as good as a dog, and the ninja world is full of super shadows. In this situation, let Otsutsuki work alone. It is said that Konoha has 10 Six Paths level existences. And 2 more, legends beyond 6 paths. However, the situation of the 3 of them was discovered by Naruto, who supervised the ninja world, and they were directly beaten. After asking about Otsutsuki's information, Naruto resolutely led the ninja elites and sounded the clarion call to counterattack Otsutsuki. The ghost knows how boring he has been all these years except for having children.